Welcome to another episode of the Mortgage Motivation Podcast. And I'm your host, Gary Taylor. And I am back. The last episode that I shot, that was right before I went on vacation. And unfortunately, I'm back. But I'm excited to see you guys. Yeah, but it was definitely a fun vacation. Florida was cool. Mexico was cool. Just had a really good time. But we're back here, so we got business to do. We got work to do here. So I just want to make sure that we get back on the podcast and make sure that I give you guys some valuable information that you can use so that you can purchase real estate. So as every week that we go through this podcast, I think of, what can I talk about in the next episode? And then I always use what I currently have going on with phone calls, emails that I get. In this episode, I decided to name it the cheat code for real estate. The cheat code for real estate. So I'm gonna give you that cheat code. And the cheat code is there is no cheat code. There's no cheat code. I mean, it's simple procedures that you have to put into your game plan as it relates to you being able to purchase a home and not just buying real estate with any process. If you're going to look to buy a car, to take out a personal loan, lending is almost the same no matter how you look at it. Now, some get more detailed than others, like a mortgage. But when I break this thing down for you, you can purchase anything for the most part, not everything, but for the most part. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how to plan your work and work your plan. Not sure if you've ever heard that before, heard that many, many years ago, plan your work and working your plan. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So it's going to be a combination of statements that I'm going to make as well as questions that I want you to ask yourself before you start the process, or just something that you may just want to ponder, right? If you're thinking about buying real estate, all right? So just a few things. So it's going to be seven. So we're going to work with seven this time. So the first thing that I want to talk about is number one, what is your goal? Why are you trying to do this? Why buying real estate is so important to you. What is your why? I know you hear that all the time. What is your why? But that is so important because to me, it is kind of useless or pointless of doing anything or starting anything unless you know why you are doing that, because that's going to be your driving point. That's what's going to give you the motivation you need, hence the Mortgage Motivation Podcast. That's going to give you the motivation you need in order to fulfill that goal or that why. So think about that. So obviously you want to buy real estate, but let's dig a little deeper into that. So is it because of family? You're starting a new family, you're about to get married, there's a baby on the way. Is it legacy? You want to buy real estate because you want to leave legacy back to your kids, your grandkids? Is it a new job? Is the reason why you have to buy real estate? You have to move to another location. Um, is it because you want to move from Philly to Delaware, or you want to leave Delaware to move to Florida, to Virginia, whatever it may be? I want you to really lock into what your why is, because that's going to be so important. And when you speak to me, that's going to be one of the first questions that I ask is, what is your why? What brought you to this point where you want to buy your new home or that second home or real estate investing? Whatever the case may be, why are you doing this? So number one, what is your goal? What is your why? So make sure you have that locked in. The second thing is, have you looked at your credit lately? You need to do a credit check. Check your own credit. Just do a quick checkup. Like sometimes you go to your doctor's office and they do a checkup on you, annually. I think you need to do the same thing with credit at least every 6 months. All right. You can monitor your credit out there. There's so many different services that you can use to keep your eye on the credit. So a couple of different things on credit that I really want you to pay close attention to: your credit history. How does the history look on your credit? How many trade lines do you have? And just to jog your memory, every trade line could be like a personal loan is a trade line. Your credit card could be a trade line. So how does the trade lines look on your credit? And is it positive or is it negative? Because before you start the process, you want to understand how your credit is. You want to understand the state of your credit. Even before you speak to me or a real estate agent, just check on your credit yourself to see how that's looking. The other thing would be is, are you having late payments? Late payments are big. What type of balances that you have on your credit? And the judgments on there. Do you see duplicates on your credit report? You should be very familiar with your credit, because anytime you speak to anyone about your credit, you yourself should be extremely familiar with the credit, your credit. That's so important. Well, the last thing that you want to do is to place your credit in somebody else's hand, and you not being knowledgeable about credit and not understand how credit works. They could tell you anything. And so my thing is always want to give you the ammo that you need. You need to be fully aware of what's going on with your credit. So when you speak to a loan officer or a real estate agent or a financial advisor, you know the true state of your credit. So that's definitely something extremely important. Is your credit up to date? Because sometimes you may say you paid off a credit card and it hasn't updated in the last 2 to 3 months. You want to make sure your credit is all up to date. Say that you paid down a balance and it still showed that original balance for a couple of months ago, because credit isn't perfect. Sometimes you have to call that in to ensure that they update your credit for you. So before you start the process, we get the latest and the greatest as it pertains to your credit. Do you have any collections? Do you see any bankruptcies? Which you should know if you have bankruptcies or not, but is that reflected on your credit report? So getting very familiar with your credit is super, super important. All right. The third thing is budgeting and saving money. Budgeting and saving money. Do you have a budget? Have you been setting aside money into your checking account or your savings account? All right. Because you have no idea the amount of people that I speak to that have no money in their savings account and they want to purchase real estate. And to me, that's not the best way of handling business. So when you're looking to buy real estate, you need to have money set aside. So it doesn't matter if we're using a down payment assistance program or you getting gift funds, does not matter. You still need to have money in your account, because there's a lot of things that may come up along the process that may not be accounted for, or something that can't be paid with the down payment assistance program, or that's above and beyond what you thought you was going to spend when you're looking to purchase real estate. All right. So like taking care of your earnest money deposit, getting a home inspection, say you need to get a pest inspection taken care of, or just having the reserves set aside. So if you start making payments on your mortgage payment, and say there's a loss of a job, which happens, guys, let's be honest here. A loss of a job, your income is reduced, you still have access to making the payment on your home. So you need to set aside reserves in order to be able to purchase a home. It's very important that you do that. It's not always mandated that you have that in order to get approved for a loan, but my advice is always have money set aside for those emergency situations. Saving your money, budgeting your money. So if you get paid $5,000 a month, how much money did you deduct from out of that paycheck to put aside for your real estate purchase? Because this has got to be something extremely important to you, and that's going to give you a big advantage as you go through the process anyway. So the more money that we see in your account, the better off you're going to be. So this is key. This is so important. Something that I think is overlooked all the time. And when I see someone that worked on their credit, have money set aside, have their own money for that real estate purchase, it just makes the process way faster, smoother. And it actually gives you more options because you do have money set aside. So we can show that reserve account, or we can show those assets. So you want to save, set yourself up for the budget. And if you don't know how to budget your money, I work with professionals that can help you out with that, to give you a plan of what you need to do in order to properly set yourself up with a budget. So budgeting and saving money is so important. The other thing is just being familiar with your employment. So that's going to be number 4. Getting familiar with your employment. And you'll think, Gary, I work here. I know what my job is all about. You'll be surprised the amount of people that have no idea how much money they make a year. So getting familiar with the money that you make with your employment, understanding, are you paid hourly? Are you salary employee? Are you working overtime? How long you've been working overtime? Being able to answer those questions are key, because when you fill out the application, those questions are going to be asked. So if you're familiar with that, it just makes the process so much smoother. So as you can see, it's more so you managing your finances. The other thing is you being organized with your finances and just your documents. So the more organized you are, the better off you're going to be. But going back to the employment thing, being familiar with your employer, how long you've been working there, how much money you make, making sure that you have pay stubs set aside so you can show us how much money you make. And if there's any deductions come out of your paycheck, be familiar with that as well. So getting that figured out is key, and knowing how long you've been at certain jobs, because on your application we're going to ask that, and that's actually very important because we want to know how consistent you are, how long you've been at your job, so we can figure out your income. So we're not just asking those questions just to be asking those questions. It is very important that we know the answer to those few questions about your employment. The fifth thing would be assets. Assets. So your assets can be a combination of different things, but just a few things as it relates to a mortgage, things that we're going to ask you about that'll be key to you being able to purchase a home would be like your retirement plan. If you have a 401k, great. How much do you have in your 401k? How long have you been paying into your 401k? Because that's going to count as an asset. And you could possibly use that money as well for your down payment or your earnings money deposit or to cover your closing costs. So understanding how much money you have in the 401k, what the total balance is, and grabbing one of those statements, because we're gonna ask you for that statement. So to me, it doesn't matter if you're gonna use it or not. Showing those assets is gonna be key to your mortgage application. The other thing is, do you have stocks? Do you have bonds, set up? Having access to those items are key element to what we're looking to do for you if you're looking to purchase a house. So understanding where all your assets are located. Do you own more real estate? This may be a second home that you're buying on investment property. All right, well, let us know about the other real estate that you own so we can see if you're receiving rental income. So all these things coming into play. So you want to be familiar with all the assets that you have. You want to make sure that you have that set aside and maybe like a folder on your desktop. So when you start the process, you can send it directly to me and we can take a look at it for you. The sixth thing would be is just organizing your documents. I tell you what, that is definitely something that's so important to me when your documents are organized. When I have someone that I speak to and I say, I need this, and within minutes, I receive a folder and everything is organized. So you'll see your W-2s, you'll see pay stubs in there, the bank statements, the total amount of all the assets, because now you're showing us everything right up front. So it just makes everyone's life so much easier when you have everything organized. So if I ask for 2 years of W-2s, it's right there, boom, boom. If I ask for 30 days of pay stubs, they're right there lined up. So when you send that to your loan officer, you're like heaven sent if you send that to us like that, because it just makes things a lot easier. So, and it helps out with the process. So we get all your documents in order. You're familiar with everything that you have going on. We can get you moving ASAP. And that's a lot of times, that's where the speed comes in. So how sometimes you look on social media and you see some lenders or loan officers will post, hey, we got this deal closed in a week and a half. Hey, we got this deal closed in 2 weeks. Not only is that lender fast, but I almost guarantee you a lot had to do with the client that they had, because everything was organized and everything was structured the way it should have been. So just get familiar with that. So it's not that hard. So grab your pay stubs, grab all your bank statements, all your personal information, just put into one folder. And so as we give you a checklist, everything that you need, send that over and we could go through it and get it knocked out. And that's how you get yourself pre-approved in like one day, because you have everything organized. Because if you send in one pay stub here, a bank statement here, these, assets that we requested, every other day or a week, 2 weeks, and, that takes a long time. And it appears that the lender is taking a long time, but actually it's because you're taking a long time to send us all your documents. In order for us to give you the complete answer or give you that guaranteed pre-approval letter, we need everything up front as much as possible. So if you have everything before the process even started, Hey, that makes things a lot easier. Okay, the seventh thing that I want to leave you guys with is speaking with the pros. For you it's so important for you to reach out to your team. So that's going to be your real estate agent, that's going to be your loan officer, your mortgage broker, reaching out to us so we can tell you exactly what you need to do in order for you to qualify. So a combination of you doing your due diligence, you doing your homework, organize all your information, and getting familiar with your personal situation, and speaking with your team, we could come up with a strategy way faster for you. And the process should go through a lot smoother because you spoke to us. So talking to your agent so they can tell you how the market is doing, what homes are selling in what areas, what how the value is looking at the time. They can fill you in on that. And then when you speak to the your loan officer, you speak to me, we can get you pre-approved. So we can tell you right now, okay, the rates are here. In order for us to get you pre-approved, we're going to need the list of documents, and we're going to need your credit score to be here. So we're going to give you a strategy. Not saying that this needs to be the last step. I'm just telling you that if you structure all of this the correct way right up front, because I'm giving you the cheat code right now. If you structure most of this up front and you speak to your team at the same time, that's going to make the process so much easier. And that's to me, that's what eliminates stress. When you have everything organized, the lender knows exactly what you're doing, the real estate agent knows exactly what you're doing, and you're out looking for houses. That's the cheat code right there. That eliminates stress 100%. Not, well, I wouldn't say 100%. There are some things that's going to possibly, bring that stress level up because hey, this is a big decision. This is a big purchase. So certain things going to happen. That trust me, it's going to happen. But if you have most of these items organized and structured, it's going to make life so much easier for you. So let's run through these things again. So number one, understanding your goal, why you're looking to purchase real estate. The second thing is your credit. Do the checkup. Make sure you have your credit in order. You at least understand what you're looking at as you look at your credit report. The third thing is having a budget and understanding how important it is to save money. The fourth thing is understanding your employment. Be familiar with how much money you make. Are you salary? Are you hourly? How often you get paid? Are there any deductions on your employment? So those items are very important. The fifth thing is understanding assets. Do you have any assets? And if you do, how to structure all your assets and what is important to a lender. The sixth thing is just organizing all of your documents, putting that baby in a folder and sending it over, or at least put it into just one or two emails and send it to your loan officer would make life so much easier. And the seventh thing, not saying that is not as important as number one and number two and number three, but contacting your team so you can understand exactly what is needed in order for you to purchase your house. But trust me, if you go through this process, go through this cheat code, guys, it's going to make life so much easier for you. So hopefully, this is going to be some gems for you to use. So before you make that call, or maybe you spoke to us before in the past and you're looking to make a move this year, just remember these items because we're going to go over this again. So the more you're familiar with this up front, the better off you're going to be as you go through the process. So as always, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm going to continue to put out more videos for how to make life easier as it pertains to real estate, mortgages, entrepreneurship. We're going to talk about it and share the videos. I know we're just getting started, but start sharing the videos so you can send it to your friends and family. So if they have any questions about real estate or how home loans work, they have some type of idea of what it takes to be a homeowner. Look forward to working with you guys. And thanks for checking out the podcast. Peace.